I never thought I'd see the day when Zendaya would be playing the same role as adult film star Willow Ryder, but here we are.
Now available in paperback and Kindle, All About Marilyn. Learn all about the struggles of a faded former teen sitcom star in this absolutely fabulous 5-star screenplay. Get All About Marilyn in paperback and Kindle on Amazon.com today.
Better get the coleslaw, y'all, cause we're having us a barbecue.
One of my viewers sent me a link to the trailer for the new Zendaya movie Challengers that's supposed to be coming out on September 15th. And in this movie, Zendaya is supposed to be playing Tashi Duncan, a tennis pro who is out here looking to elevate her career as she goes out here and pursues relationships with two white male love interests. Now, Zendaya possibly believes that this role is going to go out here and allow her an opportunity to show a larger acting range than what she was able to present in many of the teen movies she starred in for Disney, like Zapped, or playing MJ in the Spider-Man trilogy of MCU movies. And as she thinks she's going out here to play a much more mature role, she sadly can't see how she's being exploited by the Hollywood machine to be turned out in a way similar to that of adult film star Willow Ryder. Now, what's happening here to Zendaya is that she's gone out here and is thinking that she's going to be playing a more adult and more mature role with this Tashi Duncan role, but sadly she's on the same road that wound up getting her fellow biracial contemporaries like Lisa Bonet and Halle Berry turned out by Hollywood. Because all of the imagery in Challengers basically breathes new life into the same old stereotypes about black women, in between its so-called sophisticated imagery as presented by the director. Now, this effort to try to sugarcoat this crap basically shows us that Hollywood still has the same perception of black women, whether they be full black or biracial, and what we see here in Challengers is another effort to turn another black actress into a black Jezebel. Now, Zendaya's character of Tashi Duncan is one of these sophisticates running through the tennis scene, becoming a superstar similar to Venus and Serena Williams, and the movie shows that in the opening scenes before showing us the later scenes that show us her being turned into the next black Jezebel. And that starts out with Zendaya going from the girl next door to becoming a black Jezebel by running up on the door of the two white boys who are the male leads, and she's running up to their door, and that really again shows how she's supposed to be so eager to be in the presence of white men. And again, that's really troubling for me, because with any other white girl who was a white girl next door, they would have the whole story focused around how she's the one being pursued by some lame beta male, and that beta male would be out here pining for her, and that would be the core story of the movie. However, with the black girl, what they want to do is show how the black girl basically deifies and worships the white males who are supposedly lesser than her, and it's all about being in the presence of the white man. That's what's shown in the opening scene of the trailer of Challengers, and as that opening scene of the trailer for Challengers goes on, she's shown getting into a relationship with both of these white men, and later on this transitions into a scene where she's out here looking to get with both white guys at the same time, and that's why I'm comparing Zendaya to adult film star Willow Ryder, because Willow Ryder, like Zendaya, is biracial, and Willow Ryder is a porn star who has been featured in multiple adult films with white men, And the only difference between Willow Ryder and Zendaya in this movie is that one stars in films where you get an implication of her getting with two white guys at the same time, and the other has actually starred in films where she has been getting with two white guys at the same time. And again, with Zendaya, again, she's thinking that this Challengers movie is going to take her to the next level, but this Challengers movie isn't going to take her to that next level. No, it's going to put her in the same place that Lisa Bonet and Halle Berry were when they got turned out by Hollywood. Now, before Zendaya wound up on this road to getting turned out, Lisa Bonet decided to rebel against Bill Cosby, who had Lisa Bonet on the road to becoming a black girl next door. But Lisa Bonet, at 18 years old or so, wanted to go out here and wanted to try to show how she was going to grow into more mature roles and show her acting range in a what she thought would be a much more challenging role. Not in Angel Heart, not understanding that the whites in Hollywood only have one role for black women, whether they be light-skinned or dark-skinned, and that is the role of the Black Jezebel, and that's how Lisa Bonet starred in the role of Angel Heart as Epiphany Proudfoot, and wound up getting presented in a hypersexualized way in a scene with Mickey Rourke, where she basically, at 18 years old, was shown in a sex scene with an over 30-year-old man or a 20-plus-year-old man. And again, that was just extremely disturbing. But Lisa Bonet thought this would elevate her career, but it was just another one of these movies where white racists wanted to see a black girl next door turned out by white guys and get their jollies by seeing a black girl next door being turned out by the white boys. Now, after Lisa Bonet wound up starring in Angel Heart, she didn't get the boost that she thought her career was going to get. No, what Lisa Bonet basically got was nowhere, because the black women basically shut down that film and basically led to it bombing at the box office. And Lisa Bonet went from being on from Angel Heart to to going out here and then winding up being turned out. And again, she had everything with Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby basically had her on the road to becoming a girl next door. He basically had her on a show, A Different World, trying to turn her into a girl next door and a sweetheart, but she wanted white acceptance, and she wound up losing her dignity to get white acceptance. And after she got white acceptance, all they did was put her in movies with gratuitous nude scenes and sex scenes, and like Angel Heart and Bank Robbers, and then they wound up turning her out, and she didn't find much work after that. And as Lisa Bonet got turned out by Hollywood as the Black Jezebel, Halle Berry was rising as a star in black films, and as Halle Berry was rising as a star in black films, Halle Berry was gaining a major audience. However, Halle Berry wanted to get a mainstream push, and as she wanted to get this mainstream push, she wanted to go out here and fast-track her career, and she thought she would be able to fast-track her career by becoming the next Black Jezebel. Now, Halle Berry was doing very well in many black movies like Boomerang and Strictly Business, and was coming up in other kinds of movies, but she wanted to go out here and try to hypersexualize her image in order to try to become a bigger star, starting with exposing herself in Swordfish, and then later on participating in the pornographic sex scene in Monsters Ball. And as Halle Berry became the same type of star that Isis Nile was in adult films, what happened was that Halle Berry was rewarded for that scene by getting an Oscar. Unfortunately, as Halle Berry got that Oscar and compromised her integrity, such as her dignity and her self-respect, she found that Hollywood wasn't going to allow her to open doors like she thought she was going to be able to do after her Oscar speech. Now, Halle Berry thought, she would be able to compromise herself by starring in Lee Daniels' Monsters Ball and having that graphic sex scene with Billy Bob Thornton. She thought that this scene would basically take her career to the next level after she got the Oscar. She thought that winning this Oscar would open doors for her. But sadly, not many doors opened for Halle Berry, and her career basically tanked as Hollywood again turned her out after Catwoman wound up flopping at the box office. So we have two biracial black actresses who basically thought they were going to be able to go out here and play these kind of sexualized roles to make themselves appear to be more mature and have more range, and they both wound up in the same sunken place. And sadly, this is the road that Zendaya has decided to go on. Zendaya basically thinks, she's gonna be able to go out here and follow the paradigm of a Halle Berry, and think that this type of film like Challengers will allow her to take her career to the next level. But this film, when you look at the overall imagery in it, is the same type of film that Monsters Ball is, but it's got more fancy icing and fancy decoration around it. But it's the same kind of movie where what Hollywood wants to do is show a black woman basically being used by some white males sexually, being presented as a black Jezebel who is sexually promiscuous, and being presented as a woman who can just be, again, sexually presented as a sex object, not presenting us a rich, complex human character. No matter what people say about these kinds of movies, oh, they're trying to be artsy. No, this movie isn't about people. It's all about presenting black women as these stereotypes that many of the white supremacists want to see on both the left and the right, and all those guys who are in Hollywood getting their jollies by seeing another black actress being turned out and being used by these white men. And the swirlers will sit there and say, oh, later in the trailer she's married to one of these men, but that doesn't really mean anything, because both of these men basically are just seeing her as a sex object and not a person, and that is par for the course for these kinds of movies. Most of these movies, again, they're designed to try to take a black actress and present her as a sex object that these white men can go out here and get their jollies on. And again, you'll have many black females who are swirlers go out here and think, oh, Zendaya's out here with a white guy. The white guys are craving her. No, the white guys aren't craving her. No, this movie is presenting a delusion as related to the black female image, and it's presenting a delusion because what it's trying to show you is that, oh, these white guys are really into Zendaya. No, these white guys are just looking to use Zendaya's character for sex, and they're looking to sexualize Zendaya's image to make her another black Jezebel that they'll get to be featured in some gratuitous nude scenes in cheesy movies like this, Challengers. And while Zendaya thinks that she's getting a challenge from this role, she's getting played by these white guys in Hollywood who are basically turning her into a mainstream version of Willow Ryder, being able to get to see the sex scenes that they want from Willow Ryder with a major star. And again, basically making her into the same type of actress that Willow Ryder is. And sadly, Zendaya can't see how she's being played by the Hollywood system as related to black actresses. And I go in depth on this in my screenplay all about Marilyn, about how they do black actresses in Hollywood and how they steer them towards these kinds of scripts with the gratuitous nudity and the sex scenes. Meanwhile, the white girls, they don't have to be featured in any of these kinds of movies if they're on their way to the A-list. No, the white girls who are on the way to the A-list get the good scripts where they aren't sexualized. No, they are presented as the paragons and ideals. And this is what Bill Cosby was trying to do with Lisa Bonet. This is what black directors were trying to do with Halle Berry. Unfortunately, because these biracial black women are spellbound and are more eager to get white acceptance than they would try to stay on the side with black men who want to elevate their image in a positive way. What they do is go on the quest for white acceptance and acceptance in the mainstream entertainment industry. And as they go out here and look to get that acceptance from the mainstream, what happens is that these actresses sadly wind up getting turned out by Hollywood each generation after the next. And if you look at the pattern, you'll see that there is a pattern of these women basically getting turned out. I mean, if you look at the pattern of Dorothy Dandridge, who was the first black actress to be turned out by the white boys, then you look at Pam Grier, who was turned out by the white boys, then you look at Lisa Bonet, who was turned out by the white boys, Halle Berry, who was turned out by the white boys. You see a pattern as related to all of these women. Sadly, you see the pattern as related to them, and you see how they basically go from being superstars to becoming fading into obscurity. And again, this is what happens when you have white men trying out here in control of the black image, because when you have black men in charge of the black image, the black actresses are elevated and presented in positive images. The black women are presented in humanized images. The black women are presented as multi-dimensional, and you don't see that when it comes to many of the black actresses in white productions. Now, what really is interesting to me is how the studio MGM is presenting this Challengers movie. I mean, they present it as a big vehicle for Zendaya, but they put it on September 15th. And if anybody knows the entertainment industry, you know that September 15th is a death slot for a movie. So basically, the studio knows this movie is trash, and that's why they're releasing it on September 15th, because they know on September 15th, nobody's looking to go to the theater because people are going back to school. And they released this movie here because it's basically garbage. And again, it's garbage because you've got Zendaya trying to play a character that she thinks will allow her to show her range and show how much more mature she is, but sadly is just a vehicle to exploit her sexually. And she's thinking, oh, I'm gonna go out here and show that I'm gonna be a star, that's going to be the next Halle Berry. But sadly, she doesn't see where Halle Berry is right now, in Bust Downtown in Apartment 7D, after being turned out by the white boys on film and being turned out by the white boys in real life. So Zendaya, sadly, is on the same tragic road of the tragic mulatto that black actresses have been on for years. And again, she can't see the great tragedy is that she went out here and trusted those in Hollywood to take the black woman's image to the next level, when the white supremacist media arm's whole goal is to elevate white men and white women and place black women in a place far beneath all the women in the world, at the bottom of the world, by showing her as cinema's prostitute. Because that's what they want to do with Zendaya in this movie, basically present her as cinema's prostitute by having her featured out here looking to get with two white guys in one scene. Again, something we usually see in pornographic films with actresses like Willow Ryder, but we have Zendaya featured in this role, and again, absolutely disturbing to look at. And again, a lot of the visuals in this film are disturbing because they're trying to say, oh, she's trying to make it in the world of tennis, but when it just is another vehicle to again show that she's going to be turned out by Hollywood, and turned out by Hollywood in the same way that Lisa Bonet and Halle Berry were, showing us that there's no hope of anything changing as related to the image of black people in Hollywood. Sadly, I wish I could have offered Zendaya a Spellbound movie so that she could play Matilda Crowley, or go on to play Mad Matilda in Legendary Mad Matilda, because I would believe that she would do better in the Spinsterella trilogy as a black goth than being another woman being turned out by Hollywood. I mean, again, when you have black men in charge of the black woman's image, we try to elevate the sisters, but sadly many of the sisters are more interested in the social currency and white acceptance of white men, and sadly they wind up getting turned out by those white men. And it's a tragic thing to see this happen to another young beautiful woman like Zendaya. Now, this was a video requested by one of my viewers, and if you want to request a video, you can send me a Cash App by clicking the link in the description box, or if you want to send a donation through PayPal with a video request, I will make that video for you. And if you want to see positive images of black women, you can pick up my books such as the books in the Spinsterella trilogy, Spellbound, the legendary Mad Matilda and Spinsterella, the ISIS series, the Esteem series, my novel A Recipe for Success, my vampire novel Eternal Night, or my sorority novel The Thetas. And that's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available in paperback and e-readers, Spellbound, A Darker Shade of Black. Get your copy today at your favorite online bookseller.
Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.